Thank you.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Oak Grove Community Council July 26, 2023 general meeting. We're glad to see everyone here tonight. So we'll begin with board introductions. So I'm Valerie Chapman. I'm the chair of the Oak Grove Community Council Board. Mark? Mark, we can't hear you.
No, nothing.
All right, we can't hear him. We'll let him back in when we can hear you. Jane.
Jane Civiletti, treasurer.
Rich.
Rich Nippon, secretary.
Mark, are you back with sound? No. Okay. What I'd like to do before we introduce everyone else is just introduce any newcomers that we have tonight. So if you're a newcomer and live in the area, and I'm not going to put our presenters on the spot yet, but if you're a newcomer in the area, we'd love to. I know who you are, so if you can raise your hand visually or just raise your hand with the reactions button if you know how to do that. Keith.
Hi, I'm Keith Kinsman, and I'm here. I'm on the agenda later on behalf of the Kinsman Foundation.
Great, and your business is located in the Oak Grove community, correct?
It is.
Yeah, it's good to have you tonight.
Thank you.
Other newcomers?
Heidi.
Heidi.
Hi there. Yeah, Heidi Kopenicki. I'm a Oak Grove resident on Courtney Avenue.
Great. It's nice to have you here this evening. Laura.
Yeah, hi. I live on Park Avenue and I've lived here for a while. It's my first time at the meeting.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you tonight. Jean Eilers, can I put you on the spot? I know you're new.
Yes, I'm new, and I'm new at Willamette View, and learned about Valerie's role here in Oak Grove and wanted to find out more. So I'm listening in.
Thanks, Jean. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's, if that's all of our newcomers tonight, let's take a minute to introduce everyone else. I forgot to say I'm the chair. I live on Evergreen Street, a block from the trolley trail. So when you introduce yourself, give us a clue where you live. You don't have to do the exact address. Cindy.
I'm Cindy Brown. I guess I'm a voting member now.
You are,
And,
congratulations.
I live at Rose Villa, and I also thought the festival was just wonderful. Really enjoyed it.
Good. Marilyn.
Marilyn Wall. I live on Aldercrest.
Velma.
Elma lives on the corner of South View and West Views, just south of Concord.
Linda.
I'm Linda Seals and I live on Woodland Way.
Hammond.
Jolene and Tom Hammond, Viewcrest.
Craig.
Am I silent? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Here's Mark.
Okay. Yeah, Greg Wennison, Oak Grove Boulevard between Fair Oaks and Laurie.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig Van Valkenburg. I work at Willamette View.
And Ricky.
Well, I'm an old timer, it being my second time here. So I'm Ricky Schoenthal. I come from Willamette View.
Nice to have you. Sarah.
Yeah, hey, I'm Sarah Quay. I'm on River Road, but technically more like Jennings Lodge.
Well, we're glad you're with us anyway.
Thank you.
Bob.
Bob Bohannon, and I'm the North Clackamas Watershed Council rep to the Community Council, and I live on Laurie, just off of Courtney.
Pat.
Pat Calendar. I live at Rosevilla.
Welcome. Joshua.
Joshua Rannerton. I've lived here for several years now. I'm on Courtney Alpha River.
Okay, nice to have you. Fred. Fred?
Yes, I live on Oak Grove Boulevard and Linda Lane.
Jean.
Jean Coberly, Bivsvilla.
Okay. Baldwin.
I live on Neff Road, very close to Stringfield Park.
Quinn. Oh, we can't hear you. Your sound isn't coming through. There you are. Oops.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you hear what I said, or do I need to do it again?
We can hear you now if you want to introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Glenn, and I live on Evergreen, half a block or so from the trolley trail.
Susan. Susan?
Sue Conahan, Parkview Circle.
Great. Dave.
Dave Novak. I live at Rosevilla.
Welcome. Arlo.
Hey there, I'm on Arista.
Welcome. Ben.
Hi there, Ben Cheney.
Hey. And Donna, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and do your presentation later, but since you're really in the area, it'd be nice to have you introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Donna Smith, and I'm a business owner here in Oak Grove and very excited about it. Seeds well in bloom. I don't live in the Oak Grove community, but I do live in Milwaukee, so close enough.
Nice to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Did we get everybody? If I missed somebody, let's do officer report. Jane, do we have a treasurer report?
Yes, we do, Valerie. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Our previous checking account balance was $1,386.19. Since that report, we have paid a reimbursement check to Mark Elliott in the amount of $86.24. That was for business cards, which many got passed out at the Oak Grove Festival. And we also had a deposit of $19.99. That was a reimbursement from a previous expense that we had for our website host. So our current checking balance is $1,319.94.
Rich, do you have anything you'd like to say for the secretary's report, or just call for the minutes, whether they're approved or not? That would.
Yeah, just call for the minutes. I don't know who took them. I was been ill for a couple of months and didn't get to go to meetings, so I don't have anything to present, but I am taking minutes tonight.
And we're glad that you're back. Were there any corrections to the minutes that were sent out with the agenda? I don't see any hands raised or any corrections, so then they would stand approved as they are. And the only report I would give as the chair is that we did, the Oak Grove Community Council did receive a very, very nice letter from HDOG thanking the community for their support of the festival. So just to know that you're all appreciated very much. And with that, let's begin with having Donna Smith, who is our business representative tonight, give us a little background and information about her business. Donna.
Okay, so hello and thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate y'all. I am
Did we lose her?
It looks like we did, so we might, she looks like she might have to.
Still
Did I come
there.
back in?
You're back.
I think I am.
We
Oh, there
can't
you are.
see you though, Dawn.
So I'm sorry for popping out like that.
Can you put your video back on?
Okay, let's see if I can do that.
Should be
Is that
down in the,
on?
yes.
Okay, so I am Donna Smith. I do own Seed, Soil, and Bloom. I am now on the Oak Grove Boulevard, right next to Awakenings Coffee. I have been doing vegetable farming and flowers for pretty much all of my adult life. I switched to flowers mainly after I quit vegetable farming and after I retired. So this is a pop back in from retirement. So there's things coming up on here. I'm sorry if I'm coming off. Am I on still?
Well, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, so I just allowed it to happen. Now do you see me?
No.
Okay. How do I do that? Oh, well. Is it okay?
Well, yeah, it's okay. We did see you at the beginning, so
Okay.
are there any questions that people might have to ask her? She's with Seed, Soil, and Bloom. If you didn't catch that, it's actually a wonderful flower shop that's right next door to Awakenings, and they were open on the day of the festival for people to just walk in and feel the cool air for one thing, and smell the lovely flowers.
Yes, that was really wonderful. I also started it out during COVID. And then our street, Harvey, is being redone, and I knew I needed to be in a building, so I ended up coming over this way, and I walked in last September and asked if this little place was for rent, because I was very much wanting to be in this little community. So it was all I wanted to do. So it was like September came, she said, no, we don't have anything available. January came, and Acorn, who used to be here, moved to Arizona, and so the building became available to me. So now you guys get to have me with my beautiful flowers, and you're welcome to come any day and see what we do. I do weddings and events as well as our arrangements, and we have houseplants and gifts in the store. So it's a sweet little place and a sweet little community. Which has been really super nice. So our business is doing really well since coming into the community. Everybody has really welcomed us with open arms, which has been a pretty amazing ride so far. I've really enjoyed it a lot, and I love the community here anyway. So our values for our business is that we get as close to home as we can be on all of our stuff in the store. So we have our flowers, we grow them from the local farms first, and then we spread out through the United States, but not outside of our country for our flowers. So trying to be as sustainable as we can with our products, and still honor our local artists in the area that we're bringing into the store also. So, and the people that we really want to have come visit us are the flower and plant people. And we're going to be doing workshops in the fall. We'll be starting to send that out as we'll send it out in our newsletters. So if you haven't signed up, walk in, sign up, and let us know that you want to know what's going to be happening here. So that's pretty much who I am and what the store is here in Oak Grove. So.
Jane, you have a question.
Donna, can you tell us when your shop is open?
Yes, we're open right now, Wednesday through Sunday. Saturday from 10 in the morning until 6 at night. We're adding Sunday in starting in August, and we're still kind of moving our hours around a little bit. We're hoping to completely open up full 7, but as we can, you know. Our store also does take our phone with us, so you can call at any time if you have something that you need right away. We have no problem coming down to the store on our off days and taking care of that.
Are there other questions? I just like to say that those of us that have been in Oak Grove for a while, I remember that we once upon a time had a flower shop, Mary Jean's, but they've been gone for a long time. And so it's pretty sweet to have a nice flower shop, full service back in our community. So want to encourage people to visit Donna's flower shop.
Also, Valerie, I have to say I had met Donna, and shortly after I wanted to get an arrangement very quickly for a memorial for a deceased neighbor I was not able to attend. And I popped into the shop, and for a reasonable price, I got a beautiful full-on vase arrangement I was able to take to their house, and they used for a centerpiece. So thank you. It was lovely.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Mark, it looks like you have your hand up. Did you have a?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. So I was going to ask Donna, do you deliver? Maybe you said that already. I'm not sure I heard that.
I do deliver all the way in. I do Oak Grove, Milwaukee, Gladstone, Oregon City. I will go into Portland. So pretty much, Lake Oswego. So anywhere in our little area, I will deliver to.
Well, thank you for being present. And just a reminder that because your business is in the boundaries of Oak Grove community, that you are a member of the Oak Grove Community Council. And if you attend 3 meetings within 12 months, you become a voting member. So we like to encourage the business community to be part of our council.
Excellent.
I see Linda Seals has her hand up. Question?
I did not catch, I caught the days she's open, but I couldn't catch the hours.
I'm open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, again, thank you for being here tonight. Cameron, we would at this point be moving to the presentation on Courtney Complete Streets. If we can delay for and move the agenda if that's needed.
I have tried calling him a few times, so I am going to just do the best job that I can, and I will share the presentation that we created.
All right.
So you allow me to share.
Yeah. Okay. You're a co-host at this point.
Sounds good. Okay. So the Courtney Ave Complete Streets is what we're here to talk about today. This is the tentative schedule that we have. Oftentimes, construction projects have to shift depending on all sorts of factors, but this is the best guess that we have right now. So we're going to start design pretty soon here in a month and a half, and that'll take until the winter of 2025. So a couple years to do the design project. Construction projects go through a 30%, 60%, and 90% design timeline. So they're these big milestones throughout the project. And I'm hoping that we will be able to come back at 30% because the earlier we can get feedback on design from people, the more chance that we'll be able to make adjustments as are feasible. So there's also a right-of-way phase if there's any sort of like easements or something that are needed. And then construction, we're hoping to start in summer 2026. So that might seem like a long ways away right now, but It'll be here before you know it, and we just need to make sure that we do all the design properly. So I'm sure everyone here is aware of where the project area is, but just want to be real clear. Here's River Road on the left-hand side, and then McLaughlin 99E on the right-hand side. So what's going to be happening for this project is improving accessibility. That's the basis of this project. It'll be great to have a connection to the trolley trail to complete some of that network. And we'll be doing some crosswalk enhancements, which typically means adding more pavement markings. And sometimes there are other aspects. I am not positively sure on this one if we're going to be adding any sort of like flashing lights or anything, but I think we can bank on some better marked crosswalks. We'll also be making sure that we have curb ramps, and there are specifications through Americans with Disabilities Act that we will do for that. So they'll be constructed one at a time, and there's all of these measurements that have to be taken, and not every single corner is the same. It's actually quite fascinating, and it's an art and a science. So improving safety through all of the changes here. It'll be wonderful to have dedicated sidewalks and bike lanes in this area. It'll make the street much safer, as well as adding some street lighting along Courtney Avenue. And then as we're doing this work, we'll be adding some stormwater facilities like rain gardens to take the water away from the permeable surfaces and do a bit of filtering before it goes into the groundwater. So because this project came from a grant that was put together, we have a little bit of visual. Usually we wouldn't at this stage of the design, but because of that process we do. So you can see, you know, a basic rendering of what the travel lanes would look like, buttered alongside bikeways, and then the landscape strips and sidewalks. And it looks like there's a buffer space between the travel lanes and the bikeways, so that's wonderful for added safety. And then this is called a cross section of the roadway, and this is what we have for all sorts of roads throughout the county. This is an urban area, so the travel lanes will be a certain width. In rural areas, you know, there's different standards that are done. So this is the standard to meet the specifications for this type of roadway. So again, just giving a little bit of feel for what Courtney Avenue will be like once it's done. Lots of room for pedestrians and bicyclists, and a much safer environment. So just to give you, you know, the type of outreach that we will be doing, we have a web page that maybe some of you have been to. We sent out a postcard to alert people of the project, introduce it, and as well as give the information to be here at tonight's CPO meeting. I'm sure that we'll be back to another one. Maybe we will come back twice more. We'll see. We might do some things on social media. I would encourage people to get on the email list. You can go to our project website, and I can put that in the chat in here in just a minute. And as I was saying about mailings, we'll probably do another one when it's time to actually go to construction in 3 summers. And our project managers will be talking to individual property owners along Courtney Avenue as well. Please do feel free to reach out. The last slide has Bob's contact information, so we'll make sure you have that. And just to show that the funding for this at this time is $5.7 million. The money is mostly coming through a federal grant that is being passed through Metro and ODOT. And we are also using county road fund dollars. Oftentimes, or maybe always, there is a match when you get grant funds. And here is Bob's contact information, his work phone number and email address. And this is the project website, which I will put in the chat in just a minute. But we are ready for questions. I will do my very best and I will take notes and get back to you if there's things that I'm not able to answer. So I'm pulling up a Word doc and I'm ready when you are.
Well, thank you for that. Could I ask you to just begin by, the idea of a complete street? Can you explain, just tell us what coming from your department, what's a complete street?
I think that'll be best for Bob to answer because I don't really know the differentiation. I would wager that it is a full street with, the 10-foot travel lanes, the sidewalks, the buffered bike lanes, like the whole piece. But I'm sorry that I can't actually. This is the first project that we've done since I've been working at the county that is a complete streets project. So make sure
Arlo?
that he gives a description of that.
Arlo, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions on, I think similarly, terms. One was the rain garden, I believe. And then on the diagram, there was something about an intersection cap or something in there. Just wondering what those mean.
A rain garden, I think, oftentimes can be like bioswales where you have plants that have longer root system that can gather more water, that would take in more water than other plants would. The other term that you're saying, is this the slide that you saw it?
The one before, yeah, there we go.
Raised speed table at intersection of Courtney Ave and Linden Road. Let's get back to you on that. I actually have no idea. I'll learn something alongside you. So far we're interested in terms and what does this mean? Looks like Jane has a question.
Yes, in case you had mentioned it, this project will begin at McLaughlin Boulevard, is that correct?
Yes, River Road to McLaughlin.
Okay, so only to River Road, it will not continue on any further to the end of Courtney?
Not in this project. Oftentimes we will end up applying to additional grants later, but for the funding, I think probably this was the scope that was feasible to do.
Well, my other question is, since it ends at River Road, you probably don't have an answer, but I will ask if there's going to be any consideration for altering the traffic signal at River Road and Courtney from a stop on one direction to a blinking yellow on the other, whether that will be made into a four-way stop or if there are any talk about that.
I am taking notes on these and I will be getting back to Valerie once I am able to talk with Bob Nora.
Thank you.
So just to make sure that I have it correctly, wondering if there's any consideration for altering the traffic signal at River Courtney. Will it be changed to a 4-lane?
Or
A four-way stop.
A four-way stop, sorry.
Four-way stop or anything different than what's happening now.
Great. And do you have a specific concern related to that, Jane?
Well, I do at the moment, but it's got nothing to do with this project. It seems that the one of the lights heading southbound on River, that is a blinking yellow light, has been moved, damaged, altered, and you almost have to be on top of it before you see the light clearly. So if you're down the road further and it's day, you can't really see it, but that's Department of something else, perhaps.
Well, I work alongside our transportation maintenance division and our traffic signal operators. I mean, that's something that we can look into regardless of this project.
Okay,
So
you might want to mention that to them. Check out the blinking yellow heading southbound.
sounds good. I will do that. Thank you.
You have a
Yeah, got a couple of comments actually. First thing is I'm kind of shocked at the timeline that it's going to take a year and a half essentially to do this. It just seems pretty excessive for a fairly short piece of stretch between McLaughlin and River Road. The second thing is cost. Seems like almost $6 million. Also seems pretty expensive for some sidewalks and some bioswales essentially. And so I'll let you answer that. But the third thing is a little kind of my own personal little issue is we've gone through about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years of Roseville nuking the whole neighborhood over here. Construction traffic and big trucks. And that followed about 2 or 3 years of construction at the sewer plant, running massive cement mixers. Well, they've pretty well destroyed a lot of the pavement between River Road and Laurie here on Courtney. And what it is where they've put in some previous sewer lines or water lines, and those patches are basically sinking. So it's a little bit rough. And with Roseville routing a lot of their traffic now back to Laurie and down Laurie into their back entrance, we've got quite a bit of traffic. And so we also have a bit of an issue because Courtney and Laurie is basically a very large school bus stop. So we have kids from both sides of Courtney that gather there. And if you go up in the morning, the kids are standing on that corner where it's just gravel, and quite a bit of traffic coming down Courtney, be there employees going to the sewer plant, employees and residents of Roseville turning there. Is not a safe place for those kids to stand. It would be very interesting to see why we could get sidewalks extended from River Road to at least the Laurie or the sharp corner around the corner. That also is fairly dangerous because there's no place to walk. There's guardrail on one side and basically a ditch on the other.
And Bob, is this on in between River and McLaughlin, or is it
the other side? So River heading west from River Road west on Courtney down to you've got Schroeder, then it's Laurie, and makes the 90-degree turn. Well, that 90-degree turn is very dangerous too, and there's a lot of people that walk down there. Roseville is a lot of the folks walking their dogs, so you have to be careful coming through there. As you come around that corner, you can't see, and lo and behold, about half the time you come through, there's somebody right on the other side. There's a lot of very close calls in there at times, or if you meet another car, it's a problem. So just seems like it'd be nice to extend that project, another quarter of a mile, because it would make a big difference. I say, you got a major problem with the school buses picking up kids, dropping kids off. There's not really a good place for them there. And then that blind corner down there. And then,
I'm curious
once
about
again, the road
blind
is right.
corner. Why is it a blind corner? Is there vegetation in the way?
Yeah,
or
there's
what?
vegetation there and elevation with the ground as well. But you're also making a 90-degree turn that it has you kind of go down a little hill, makes a sharp 90-degree turn, and there's a little bit of a low spot there. So it's kind of it's just, this was old farm road they paved, 100 years ago or whatever it was. So it doesn't look like it was ever really improved. They just came in and laid some asphalt and off they went. They did put a guardrail there to keep it from going off the hill into the house down below, but it's fairly dangerous. So
Thanks. I'll also alert our traffic safety team of that and see if there's something that could possibly be done, because it's outside of the project footprint. And as you were noting that you're surprised of the cost, I don't think it's possible for this project to encapsulate that, but I will bring it up with Bob. I've taken notes on all of your 3 points that you said. And if there's vegetation in the way, our transportation maintenance team, can work with property owners. Or if there is a major hazard, they sometimes will do things for property owners, but that's only in.
As far as the rough road up there, they promised after they got the sewer plant done that they were going to come up and take care of it because it deteriorated quite a bit with the dump trucks and the cement trucks and stuff. And then, they started the Roseville, and it just kind of keeps getting pushed off, it seems like, for whatever reason. But yeah, it just needs to be kind of smoothed out a bit. It's getting a little crazy. Other than that, I'll get off my soapbox.
Okay, thank you for your comments and for caring so much about your community. After, I don't know that Mark will be the last question or not, but after I'm done taking people's questions and writing the notes, I will be sure to put the project website in the chat. And then I'm also going to put our road concerns information in the chat, because that's who you can contact if you see potholes in the road or you see a safety concern out there when you're driving on Clackamas County roads. That is the best way to alert the county of something that you see, and they're all tracked, and we typically get to potholes within a couple of days. So I'll put that in there. And then the third thing that I will put in is a web page to our transportation system plan page. That is a project that we're going to be starting in like the next 6 months or so. And every 10 years, we do a transportation system plan update. So that is how projects like this even get on the list in the first place. We don't just pick, things that we think that we see out on the roadway. It's something that we gather data on. We have a lot of public involvement for, so I'll definitely be giving that information to Valerie when the time comes. I think we'll be starting the project maybe in January or February, just with the consultant to start laying the plans for what engagement looks like. But that's going to be a big lift and something that we're hoping as many people in our county can be involved in as possible, because this is the time to get your concerns out there, because that's how projects ever come to be, is first by getting on this list. So I just want to mark that and segue to Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Cameron. So as a part of the Courtney Avenue work, are you guys actually going to be replacing the roadway, and in addition to all of the new items like sidewalks and the landscape area, you're actually replacing the roadway itself? And the reason I ask that is that right now, in a lot of cases, the roadway is about the same level as the property owner's property. So would there be if you're replacing the roadway, would you actually be lowering the roadway so that there's a difference of elevation between the road and the adjoining properties? The other question is, I'm assuming you would be putting in curb cuts and drive approaches for everywhere that there's a driveway, those kinds of things, right? I'm just wanting to understand a little bit more of the scope of what a typical person who lives on that street might expect to see happen.
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't want to make the assumption that it will be paved, but that seems, reasonable to expect, since we'll be doing so much work to excavate for the rain gardens and for the sidewalks that don't exist there yet. So I think it's a safe bet, but I also don't want you to quote me on it, because this is Bob's project and he really is the one that knows the most about it. So if we were to do paving, they would first grind out, to take asphalt off the top, so that there is still a curb, like you're saying. That's a great question. So we usually do a grind and then an overlay when we do paving projects. And yes, if that were to happen, then the driveway aprons, as they're called, and all of those things would definitely fall in line. I'm sorry that I don't know the exact answer, Mark.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So I'm wondering what you think might be a good time for you to, for you folks to come back to maybe fill us in on some further development of a project? Would
I will
that
be advocating to come back to this group when the 30% design plans are in,
Mhm.
because that is the very best time to
Okay.
get feedback from folks, to give the best chance to incorporate something if it's feasible to do that. So that is my intention. And
And when do you think that would be? Is that this fall or this winter?
well, let's see. I mean, it's kind of hard to say since this design goes from September to winter. I would expect honestly in the spring of 2024.
Okay.
Because it's possible that maybe we won't start design until October and have our kickoff meeting. So I will update you on that, but I think that that is a fair guess, considering the length of the design.
I don't see other questions right now. I did want to, oh, Fred, did you have something you wanted to say? Okay, I did want to agree with Bob O'Hanlon. I have concerns about the corner there at River and Courtney, and the fact that there is so much traffic from the new addition to Rose Villa that accesses from Courtney, that's and I have enough concern that it almost feels unsafe to create this complete street that comes to a stop at River, because you're funneling all of this traffic, and then suddenly that's a stop. Is River that's the through street, and there's too many children that walk that way, and folks from Rose Villa and other places. So it doesn't quite feel, I guess it doesn't feel like a complete project that it doesn't include that intersection, because it's going to impact it so much. And I also, in looking at the design, it seems clear to me that there will no longer be parking on Courtney. Is that correct?
I think that your assumption is correct, Valerie.
Right.
I will confirm with Bob, but
yeah.
I mean,
So
that looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks pretty complete without any parking. So I just, wanted to raise that. And I want to also express, Cameron, my appreciation for you being here tonight and for your willingness to go ahead and do the presentation, and just for the community, because we advertised about Clackamas coming, to understand that Cameron is the outreach coordinator. Is that correct? She is not the project manager, and so she's pitch hitting tonight. And it's very disappointing that Bob Noor was not here tonight, but that's out of her control, and I would appreciate your letting me know, so we can let the community know that he was okay and that nothing happened, because we've been advertising, for quite a while to do this, and I know that it was really important. There's a lot of important questions and people here about this project. So thank you, Cameron. You deserve accolades for stepping in tonight and taking on this project. So
well, thank you very much. I did my best, and I know that there's all the questions are basically unanswered, except I think that we can be pretty darn sure that there will not be parking on the street, to Valerie's question. So there's one that she already knew the answer to before she asked it. Thank you for your grace. I appreciate everyone's understanding. I will be sharing these questions with Bob and getting answers, and I will send them to Valerie so she can update the group, and I will add those 3 different links, information for the things that I said. And I'll be on for another like 5 minutes, if people have something else that comes to them that they can write in the chat. So thank you very much for your time. We look forward to bringing this safety project to the community.
okay, and if you want to unshare so that we can, there we go. You're back. So again. Let's move now to Joseph, who is our LUART chair, is not here tonight, but he spoke to us about a conditional use permit that the Kinsman Foundation had applied for. And Keith Kinsman is here to talk to us about that conditional use and what that means. And maybe you could just give us just a clue. I know that this is a foundation that doesn't need volunteers or extra workers or anything, but it's just kind of nice to know what businesses exist in our community. So if you'd like to give us a little synopsis, that would be great. Thanks, Keith.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm Keith Kinsman here on behalf of the Kinsman Foundation. And I am here because we have applied for a conditional use permit with the county to move our office from its current location to a location also within the Oak Grove Community Council area on the corner of Oatfield and McNary, up above Rex Putnam High School. Our current office is on Spalding Avenue across from Concord School. And we've been there for, well, since our beginning 30 years ago. We're a typical family foundation. Our business is to make grants to nonprofits. And our interest areas are historic preservation and wildlife rehabilitation and arts and culture. And that's a wide scope for many grant-making foundations, but it's pretty typical of family foundations. It reflects just the interests of the founders who were my father and stepmother. I said we've been in the small office we are now for the 30 years we've been in existence. But before that, it was my father's construction office. He was a builder and a carpenter and used a very small office that he built in 1950 to do that business from. And I guess as an aside, it's where I moved in 1950. And so I've been, it was an easy walk to elementary school. We're proposing to move to a property that we own on McNary Road and Oatfield. It's on the south corner. There are three main buildings on it, a large residence, a really small log cabin, and a workspace that we call the treehouse. And that's because the property has two levels. It sits high above Oatfield Road, probably 30 or 40 feet on a steep bank. And so you can sort of see the main house from Oatfield Road, but you have to be looking. And you can see the roof mostly. From inside the main house, you can't really see Oatfield Road very much. The log cabin is on the same level as that house. And then there's a steep hill. McNary is a steep hill all the way up to the top. And the treehouse is located at the top. And we call it that because the property is heavily wooded. And the treehouse is one of those houses that is attached to the ground at the entry level. And the rest of it is on high stilts. And so the feeling of being amongst the trees is very present there. And from below, it looks like a house that's up in the trees. An important note, I guess, is that the house, well, the entire property is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And because of that, it is also a Clackamas County Historic Landmark. So we are proposing to move our offices there, both because it's convenient for us and because It's a way to preserve to give the buildings a purpose, which in historic preservation is typically an important element, is for keeping the property safe from development. We don't have a bunch of huge issues that I'm aware of. The county has issued its report. Oh, I should add, I guess now, that the hearing, unfortunately, that I'm here to let you know about is tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the morning. And if you want to access that, it's a Zoom hearing, and you can access that from the county planning department's website, where the documents and the recommendations of the county are all contained. They're findable at that website. A little bit of an issue is parking. We're proposing to use the graveled driveway that goes up to the treehouse from McNary. And I'm not sure from reading the county's report if they want that paved before we're able to use it as parking. We're a very small office. We have fewer than 3 full-time employees. There's 2 full-time and 2 part-time employees. The use that we'll be making of it is a much less intensive use than the residential use that is allowed there now. I guess I don't really have much else as far as a presentation, but I'm way happy to answer questions. I'm familiar with the house after I grew up on the Concord or the Spalding Avenue house. During high school, I moved to the McNary property, and so I'm very familiar with it throughout its existence. It was built in 1969, and the treehouse was built about 5 years later. And the log cabin was a pre-existing use there, and it is of uncertain origin as far as what time it was built. A woman named Lillian Wren, who taught school, I think at Jennings Lodge, lived in it. But we haven't been able to trace back very much past her, who lived there in the 20s. So I'm happy to answer questions or provide any other explanation that anyone is interested.
Are there any comments or questions from anybody? Jane, I see your hand up.
Yes, Keith, I wonder, what is it about the property, or why is it historic?
The minimal requirement for listing on the National Register is that a property is 50 years old, and then there's a lot of criteria that are looked at by National Park Service and the State Historic Preservation Office. And it is because it's an excellent example of 1960s construction. It's essentially handmade, and it is in pretty much the same condition as it was when it was built in 1969. It has the same furnishings in essence, and the grounds, the landscaping, and the house itself is intact.
Other questions? Thelma.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just want to tell everybody that the hearing tomorrow, the information and the link to it are in the CIA newsletter. So anybody that wants access to it can go to the CIA newsletter. Any of you new people here that don't know what the CIA newsletter is about, stands for Citizens Informed and Aware. And it is a newsletter that you have to opt into. I've been putting it out for 10 years now. And I will put my name, my email address in the chat box. That's how you get access to the newsletter. Comes out once a month. Thank you.
Thanks, Thelma. Any other thoughts? I will say that our LUART chair, Joseph, who I always, Bob, do you want to go ahead and take this? I'll let you go.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment for Keith. I just wanted to thank him and the foundation. We at the Watershed Council have had some support from them in the last couple of years, and just wanted to let him know how much we really appreciate it. It's very, very generous of them to do that, and just wanted to say thanks. It's the first time I've seen the demand, so thanks again.
And thank you.
The comment I was just going to make is that Joseph is our LUART chair, and those of you who know Joseph know I think he memorized the land use and regulations for the entire county or beyond, and he was pretty clear that this conditional use permit would not be a problem for anyone. So if there are questions about that, do let us know, but it sounded like to him that all the bases were covered and it would be a pretty good thing. So the fact that he's not here tonight is because he had a conflict with another meeting, and Keith very graciously agreed to come and talk about the project himself. So thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move now to our Oak Grove Festival follow-up. It's kind of a preliminary follow-up report, but since we have one of the co-chairs who are here with us tonight, Mark, we'd love to hear what you have to tell us.
Well, thanks, Valerie. I'll just start by wanted to say a shout out to some of our sponsors who are here tonight. Of course, the Oak Grove Community Council was one of our sponsors, as well as the Rose Villa and Willamette View. So we're very grateful to all three of you for supporting the festival. One of the reasons that we really ask for supporters is that we try to keep our vendor fees down low so that we can encourage participation, particularly those locally who don't really have a lot of money to put into being able to, it's a lot of money just to put it on themselves. So our sponsors really make it possible for this to happen. And, our whole purpose of having this is to really build community. So I feel like that was something that I felt really happened well. I think one of my favorite comments I received was that a visitor said, "Hey, I think I want to move to Oak Grove because you guys have a real sense of community here. And, where I live, I don't have that. And so I miss that. And I like to live here." And I thought that was a really wonderful thing for someone to say, and it made me feel really good about it. We're happy that there were a lot of people that showed up. We had probably close to 5,000 or more. And it really wasn't about the numbers as much as it was about the people that were there. And so overall, we had about 107 vendors. We went all the way from Rupert Road to River Road. That was the first time we went that far. Some of our friends that live on Cedar Avenue were taken a little bit aback by the road being closed because part of Cedar does not have a way out. It's a one-way road. So we had to deal with some of that. And it was this is all a volunteer group. So we kind of learn as we go and try to learn from our mistakes and do better the next time. But I think a lot of our vendors came back from last year. They hope to come back next year. We are meeting as a group to kind of talk about things that we can do to improve it for next year. And one thought we have is maybe moving it into late June instead of mid-July because of the weather, but also a lot of other things happened that weekend all around us. So I just want to thank everybody that participated. You know, Greg is Winnison is part of the CERT team that really did a fantastic job in keeping everybody safe. And we were just so grateful for that too. Everybody just pulled together. It was a wonderful feeling and I was really happy to be a part of it. So anybody have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mark, it was wonderful. Are you, my question is, are you going to be part of the leadership for next year? Are you going to co-chair again?
Yeah, that's my plan. Do it one more year, do it 3 years in a row and and get it set up for other people to take it from there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was really a wonderful event. And the Oak Grove Community Council had our booth, and maybe just a little report. We had a number of people stop by, and we had 37 people leave little cards and comments and say they wanted to be signed up. Some of those people we helped them to get signed up so that they could get our information. And the number one comment that people made was that they wanted more community engagement. So I think people are really looking for involvement in this community. And so events like the festival are really helpful for bringing people around, that also people want to know what they can do to get involved. So thanks again, Mark. It was great. So we can move to committee reports, and I'm going to start with Greg Winnison, who has a report for the CERT team.
Greetings there, Oak Lodge CERT. Just as a quick thumbnail, we do community education and support primarily for emergency preparedness and able to help the first responders in an emergency or a disaster before the real first responders get there. And a lot of what we do is try to get neighbors and people prepared, because the county is not going to come and help you. And in a real disaster like an earthquake, you're on your own. So that means that basically you and your neighbors. So that's our kind of underlying principles. And we're mostly organized around neighborhoods. Just a quick synopsis. We had a May class that basic CERT class, which is 24 hours of training and things like first aid, fire suppression, emergencies preparedness, etc. And we gave 5 new members to our CERT team, which brings it up a little bit over 30 active members across Oak Grove and Jennings Lodge. We're also revitalizing our working partnership with Rose Villa. They're Ready Force, which is kind of CERT Light for their Rose Villa, which is a neighborhood. We're partnering with them in cross training, and 2 of the members in the May class were actually from Rose Villa. So that's pretty cool. And we were really happy to support the trolley trail, because that was really a great both exposure and good service that we could go ahead and do. And kudos to Todd Hudson, who was the lead for that effort. I was actually off camping in Montana and trying not to get eaten by bears and stuff like that. So we're also going to do a pop-up with the Oak Lodge Water Services September 16th, the Saturday at Awakenings Coffee. And I think the Water Service District is going to be buying coffee, and we'll be passing out information because September is Emergency Preparedness Month. So the thing that I wanted to do, and I was hoping that Paul Savas would be here because I have some questions for him about disaster management and preparedness. And this is somewhat about funding, and we're not asking for money. Definitely, we're primarily self-funded and some grants through Homeland Security, because CERT is part of Citizen Corps. So we have a specific training we do and qualifications we have to be trained to and maintain over a period of time. So our sponsor is Clackamas Fire. They don't provide funding, but they do provide liability insurance and workman's comp when we're deployed or when we're training. And the liability, workman's comp, hopefully we never have to need that. But the liability is something that we're concerned about, because if we're doing something and we step on Aunt Tilly's roses and her 5 lawyer kids all of a sudden decide to sue us, that would be something that the fire department would go ahead and provide liability support for us in those cases. They also provide some copying and admin support, and they used to list us, and if Marilyn Wall is listening, I hope, they used to list us on their website, but when they laid off the emergency manager 2 years ago, all references to CERT either pull up a 404 not found or just disappeared. And we've been trying for 2 years to get that, to get our references back onto how to contact us, et cetera, on the fire department's website, but it just doesn't seem to happen for some reason or another. So if you're there and are listening, that would be really great. But we'll keep on pushing it up through from the bottom on our chain of command. Our grant funding is primarily through Homeland Security, but it's not just for Oak Lodge, it's also for Milwaukee, Happy Valley, Oregon City, because there's 4 or 5 certs that are supported by and sponsored by Clackamas Fire. And about 4 years ago, we got a $15,000 grant for equipment. And the question that I was going to have for Paul Savas is, we have a $5,300 grant that's available to us, but it's administered through Clackamas County Disaster Management. And somehow they're not staffed well enough to be able to actually buy anything for us since the beginning of the year. And so that's a problem for us, because we're pretty thinly, and a lot of our stuff is provided by the actual individual volunteers. And I just mentioned that 2 years ago, they didn't apply for a fairly large grant because they also didn't have staff. So that's a kind of a question that I was going to ask Paul Savas is, do the commissioners actually care about disaster preparedness? Because for the last 2 years, Clackamas County Disaster Management has had an interim manager and an interim deputy manager. So there's no permanent leadership at the department. So question is, why is that? So just to let everybody else know too, because it seems like there's kind of MIA or missing in action. So he's not here, so I won't ask that, but I kind of leave that echoing in everybody else's ears is, Clackamas County Board of Commissioners, where are you? What are you doing with Clackamas County Disaster Management? And that's all I've got.
Well, thank you, Greg. I see that Thelma's hand is up. Thelma, did you have a question?
No more, not a question, an answer to Greg's statement about the county. They are having a disaster management town hall scheduled coming up. The county is doing, so maybe you need to approach them on that. The other thing is that on, I believe I'd have to look again, I just looked it up, August 26th, the Milwaukee Portland Elks Lodge number 142 is having a safety fair there at the lodge, and including all of the stuff that you're talking about.
Great.
And the information on the safety fair and the town hall will be in the CIA newsletter whenever I get it out in August.
Okay, thanks, Thelma.
Sure.
So Greg, a question, would it be helpful if there was a letter from the Oak Grove Community Council that went to the BCC to raise the questions that you're expressing around safety for our communities?
I think it would. One of the things, and I went to a FEMA class back on the East Coast about 5 years ago, and it was about community involvement, bringing community groups together. The board or the disaster management used to sponsor something called VOAD, which is volunteers I don't know what it is, but basically it's like Red Cross and all of these major organizations that the county actually works with. They don't work with, they work with the fire department. Fire department works with us.
So I can say to the general membership, is there a movement that someone would like to make from the floor about adding a letter or writing a letter from the community council in support of the support services that the CERT team needs? Jane?
I would like to make a motion that the board work with Mr. Wennison to pen a letter to the county commissioners to inquire about those exact questions that he is posing about emergency management here in our county and area.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any thoughts in here, any questions that people have about this?
Just one is, I want to be careful I don't burn any bridges or leave any turds in the punch bowl.
We will work with you. We will write a letter that you will be involved in. Greg, you're a member of the group. So yeah, absolutely. That doesn't make any sense. What we're trying to do is advocate for support, not to burn bridges. That doesn't make any sense.
There's two separate issues. Is having our grant support administered to the disaster management. But the other one to me is the bigger one, is a community issue, is having no leadership, no permanent leadership in place.
Right. And it does seem like if we read the news that we're in a time of disaster after disaster. So we should be on our toes. So and aware. So if you are in agreement with this, or let's see, how can we do this? Is there anyone that feels strongly that we should not write this letter? If so, you could either raise your hand, or you could put your name and send it to Jane Civiletti, who is, or one of the board members. Jane, if you'd be willing to take that, that would be good.
Certainly.
Otherwise, we'll do it by unanimous consent. But if you are not in agreement, please let Jane know through the chat.
And we know who the voting members are.
Yes, we do that.
Give it another 30 seconds, perhaps. Valerie, would you like to sing our little jingle?
I don't know that jingle. You'll have to sing yourself, Jane.
We're going to have to come up with a jingle.
Something.
Okay, hearing no one, seeing no one writing back, we will assume that voting members agree to work with Mr. Wennison to pen our concerns to the county commissioners.
Good.
All right, thank you. So be it. Are there other committee? First of all, thanks, Greg. Thanks for being here. Great report. So good to have you here with us. And maybe we'll get CERT back again to do a little mini training with us during the emergency preparedness time, or not that month, because you'll probably be terribly busy. But okay.
Oh no, Greg's not that busy.
Thelma, you had a report?
No, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
I have typed the CIA stuff into the chat, but I don't know how to send it. How do I send it?
Just enter.
Press enter.
Press enter. I've pressed it twice. It's showing up.
Make sure that it's the little box says to everyone.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Gosh, I'm not sure why it wouldn't show up, Thelma. It should.
And I've pressed it twice, and it says send chat to everyone and enter, and I'm not seeing it in the chat box.
Thelma, perhaps you can try sending it just to Mark Elliott and see if he gets it, then he can forward.
Okay, it looks like it came out on the thing. It's there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It came out. Okay. Thanks.
Just
I can take my hand down now.
I had an email from Anita Blackmar, who for the NCPRD and the library committee wanted me to be sure to let people know she had a conflict tonight. However, groundbreaking has begun, and there's big earth moving machines in Gladstone for the Gladstone Library. So that's on its way. First steps always to get all the dirt out of the way and get going. And September is the groundbreaking time for the Concord library, the Oak Grove Library that will be going in there. And they will be using the same construction company. So that was her report. She just wanted us to know that things are moving. I know for those of you who have worked on the library for a really long time, it's kind of exciting to know it's getting going. Are there other committee reports? Or is there any public input? Any thoughts coming from the community gathered tonight? If you have any thoughts, issues that you would like to see us address in the future, we'd love to hear from you. Craig, can you update us on the crosswalk? How's that going?
Well, I'm sitting here smiling and listening to the questions about the Courtney Road and how long it takes to get something done. So we're still waiting. Waiting to hear if the county has actually got it out to bid and what the timing is. So unfortunately, I don't have anything real positive and timely to share with everybody.
Craig, is that for the Jennings Ave project?
No, it's the Park Avenue River Road crosswalk.
Yeah, I can't help you.
Are there any announcements? Okay. Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to the Concord School Library groundbreaking. There is quite a community event that's being developed for that, and I really want to encourage everybody to keep your ears open for September. We're hoping to have quite a great community event for that groundbreaking. It's been in the works for 25, 30 years, and this is a great time for us to celebrate the beginning of a new chapter in the library system.
Great. And thanks for all the work that everyone has done on that. Well, I believe we've come to the end of what we have on our agenda, just letting people know that our next board meeting will be on August the 7th at 6:45. Board meetings are open to the public. And if you go to our Oak Grove Community Council website, the link is there in order to get into the board meeting, which again, it will be on August 7th. And our next general meeting will be on August 26th. We're finished with our meeting a little bit early tonight, but it's summertime and I don't see any reason why we have to all hang around just because we're at a meeting and go longer if we needed it to. So with that, I think I will say that this meeting is adjourned.
Great job, Valerie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Valerie.